you are and you were really smart. You did great in school. You always made great marks in school. Like
Marks, what
there
are we?
was
This is the fifth.
I know. I, I was just thinking that. Stop distracting me. But yes, so you were great in school. You made good marks in school. I didn't have to worry about whether you were going to graduate or not. I didn't
It
have to
was
worry about
rough.
you hanging out with like a rough crowd or anything like that. And that also signaled to me your potential.
Mm.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After I Do. I'm your host, Nisha G, and I'm here with my husband. Any day now.
45, 47. Molito.
Hi, babe.
Hey, Boskies.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm Gucci.
Look, first of all, you're not young.
Wow.
Or you're not young. We don't talk. We don't talk about like these young kids. Okay.
Wow. I don't even think they say that anymore.
I don't know.
I don't know what the young kids say.
They say stuff like Riz.
I was just going to say that.
And mid.
And mid. Well, I think I used mid a couple of times, so I'm not entirely not put on, I guess. Do they still say put on?
Put on? They put you on the set? You gonna join the gang?
You know what I mean? I'm not totally like out of the loop.
You ain't set tripping?
Yeah, I don't think they say that anymore either. Yeah, but how's it going?
It is going.
It is. I agree.
It is going.
I agree. How was your week?
Active.
Okay.
Active. I was in the gym.
Yeah.
In the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But the gym was not in me.
Be up in the gym, just working on my fitness.
I was in the
Been
gym, but the gym was not in me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you were looking good. You were looking good. I was looking at you when you were doing your sets after I finished mine.
No, I'm fat. That's cool. Don't work on it.
You're working on it. It's
my whole thing now is affording 40 and fit in 40.
You are such a copycat. I just don't even understand.
Because you inspired me, babe.
Okay, don't.
You inspired me.
Don't.
What can I say? You're very inspirational.
Okay.
So 40 and fit. First of all, I'm a lot closer to 40 than you are. Okay.
Okay, not that much closer, but yes,
a whole year closer.
You will be close. You will turn 40 before I will.
So
yes.
and let's be honest, I have a lot more work to do than you do. I mean, you're naturally beautiful. I have to work for mine, and I can't afford to lose you. I don't want you to leave me.
You are laying it on thick.
I don't want you to leave me.
Goodbye. You are laying it on.
I got to get my my chubby dad body.
Your what?
My chubby dad body.
Oh my god.
I need to be like overweight BMI, not like super obese BMI.
Overweight Bye. I don't even know what that means, but okay.
Yeah.
Anywho, aside from the gym,
I'm working on my summer body for summer 2028.
For summer 2028.
Yeah.
Legs out, chest out, all summer 2028.
No clothes on.
No clothes.
Thong bikini bottoms.
The day I see you out in public in a thong bikini, the day I see you gather enough confidence to go out into God's beautiful world in a thong bikini.
Just the bottom, no shirt. Abs out.
Okay. I mean, I support the decision. If you can muster up the confidence to be out in public in a thong bikini with no top on, I support it.
Like LL say, I'm gonna just let vanilla ice cream run in my chest.
Oh, maybe not go that far.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
how was your week, Whiskey?
My week was okay.
Just okay?
Yeah, it was okay.
Just okay?
Yeah, why?
You got 2 new cups this week.
Oh, well, yeah, I did get 2 new cups this week.
That you didn't need.
I got one of them was a gift, which was really great, and it came from the Philippines. So shout out to my cousin Sherry.
First of all, that's my cousin. Again, I need to double down.
Listen here. I need to double down. When I married you, she became my cousin.
I need to double down that I have put way more.
Okay, I don't want to go to this conversation again. So I need you to
That the
cut it
family
out.
that you inherited from
I
me
need you to cut it out.
has really been a blessing to you.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
I just wanna see some of that reciprocated
Okay. Anyway,
towards
back to what I
me
was saying when I
because
was
I
talking
feel
about
like
my week and I didn't interrupt his week. My week was great. And yes, I got a new cup from overseas thanks to my cousin, Sherry.
my cousin,
Thank you, cousin Sherry, for
my
bringing me
cousin.
back a limited edition 26th anniversary Philippines Starbucks studded cup. It's beautiful and I can't wait to make a bow for it.
Once again, my family's just the best lacking.
I can't wait to make a bow for a bow topper, okay? And now it's with the rest of my cups to
in no
collect
in
dust.
no man's land.
It it's
In
not
no
in no man's
and yeah,
land.
it's in no man's land.
It's with the rest of its brothers and sisters, getting ready to collect some dust.
Mm,
So yes,
yeah,
but she's there so that I can look at her because she's all nice and pretty.
yeah,
But yeah, so I had a pretty decent week. We've been
that's
in the
good.
gym all this week, so that's
Mm,
been really
mm,
fun
mm.
spending time
I
together.
am, I did drop a little weight.
Yep.
You drop a little weight too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
You
that
won't
was
tell me how
nice.
much though, but I know you dropped a little weight.
I did. It's in my tracker.
Let me see it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see it.
See what?
I don't understand why anything when it comes to weight with you, it's like top secret.
It's not top
It's
secret.
like level 5 clearance.
No, it's
Like
not.
you don't never tell me
I
like
literally invited you to be my friend on Fitness Pal.
that's because we be eating the same thing, so you don't have to put every episode, every meal in. That was not.
So I
It,
could just send it to you. It just makes it so
it
easier to send it to
it
you.
ain't like I can track you from.
Oh, I mean, well, your my Apple Watch sends you a message when I complete workouts and
Oh,
stuff.
I will say this. We got a new scale today, and I set it up, and it completely disrespected me.
No, it didn't.
It did.
Although I just don't
Some of
understand
the
how they do all the little breakdowns that they claim to do,
that
but that's neither here nor
them numbers
there.
were wild.
Yeah, I just think some of that is
I
a little
said
frou-frou,
I said
but
I
who
said
am I? You know,
I
who am
said
I? I'm
I
not
know
an engineer. So,
I know I'm a big guy.
mhm.
I'm a big guy,
Yeah.
but
You're not like big.
I ain't that big.
You're not big.
They disrespected me.
They're they're like, "Sir, all we did was
You know
weigh
what?
you. The
I
number
didn't
is
even talk
the
about this. Oh,
number."
we didn't even talk about we had back to school night this week,
Oh my gosh, yes, we had back to
and
school
she
night.
was more excited because she thought back to school night was recess number 3 or something. Because she was like,
All the kids did.
"Get your ass
All
over
the
here."
kids was like, "Okay, well, it sounds like y'all got something to discuss. Like all
We gonna
y'all
go.
parents and y'all got something to discuss. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to recess outside. So y'all do what y'all gotta do. Call us if you need us."
Mhm.
That's pretty much what the kids were on. But yeah, we had back to school night. That was really fun. It made me sad though, reading her little book where she talks about our
Get this
dogs.
baby a dog.
So, Phoenix has been asking for a new dog. We lost both of our dogs. We lost one dog last August, and we lost one dog this year in January. And we've had them obviously since she's been born. So she's grown up
Just
with
before then.
dogs. Yeah, since before then. But so she's grown up with dogs. And recently she's been asking for another dog. And so she keeps coming to us and she's like, can I get a dog, please? Can we get another dog? I wanna be a family of 5 again. We're just a family of 3." And I was like, "Girlfriend, we were a family of 3 before. We were a family of 3 with 2 dogs." But, when we went to back to school night, they had created these little folders, and the kids talk about, like, their best friend, and they talk about, like, the pets they have and stuff. And what did she write for hers in her pet section?
She said, I had 2 dogs,
Mhm.
Bailey and Jumpers, but they're both in heaven.
Yeah, but they're both in heaven. And I was like, it got my mom
It
heart.
got you?
Like, it got me right there,
I ain't
and
gonna lie, when I read it, it kinda got me a little bit.
I was ready to go try to adopt a puppy that night.
I wasn't.
I was like, "Oh, man," and I'm trying to explain to her, like, "Phoenix, having a dog is
A lot of
it's a lot of work and responsibility," and she's just like, "Oh, yeah, I'll take care of it." By that, you mean I'll be here taking care of it, walking it, cleaning up after it,
Yep.
going through puppyhood with it.
Oh my god. Puppyhood is the worst.
I don't have any shoes left for a dog to destroy. I don't have another couch for a dog to eat. I don't have a rug for a dog to piss on. I don't have no floors that need to be ruined by dog piss.
I
I
know
don't
dog hair everywhere.
or the dog hair. Or the dog hair. Now, mind you, like as they got older, we didn't have to deal with those things much.
Yeah,
I'm just
but
talking about especially like when Jumpers was little and he was going through his puppy stage, eating shoes and
He was
eating
stubborn,
couches and
stubborn ass nigga.
pissing on the floor and refused to go outside.
You don't wanna live that?
I don't have time for that right now. Not in my
Okay.
life. So yeah.
But it was
But yeah,
it
overall
was
it was a
cool.
really good week, right?
I mean, my daughter just keep confirming to me this week that I ain't shit. So everything's
They
mommy's the best,
It's
mommy's
because
this.
I'm the default
It's
parent.
cool.
It
It's
doesn't
cool.
mean that you're any
Nah,
less.
it's
I'm just the
cool.
default parent.
It's
And
cool.
you've been
I'm not
here.
doing this. I'm not doing this
You've
with
been
y'all.
home for like the past week. And so
I'm
she's
not
seeing a lot more of you, but she still really relies on me because you're normally at work.
I'm not doing this no more. I'm not
His
giving this
feelings get so
I'm
hurt.
not giving this child no more energy.
Like, he picks her up from school. She loves when he picks her up from
No, she
school, by
don't.
the way. But he picks her up from school and she's like, "Hey, dad." And then immediately after that, she goes, "Where's mom?
No, she don't even say, "Hey, dad." She go, "Where mom? Is mom
Where
in the car?"
where's mom?"
When I came home the other day, she was like, "Where's mommy?" Mommy's with a friend. She's been gone forever. I said, "You just got home. You just got
You
home."
just walked in the house and you're already talking about I've been gone forever.
I said, "It's cool
And
though."
then she called me.
Yeah, she did. But it's cool though.
Babe, she loves you.
No, I'm now. This is
She did.
making
She
me
was like, "I love
no,
both of
no.
you."
This is making me mad. What we got today?
Oh gosh.
I'm off this. I'm off this.
You're so terrible.
What we got
You're
today?
so terrible. So we've got a video and I want to hear your reaction.
I'm always.
You ready? Let's get into this.
Women are attracted, generally speaking, the research shows, to men based on three reasons. The third is kindness. They don't want someone who's going to be a good person. They're impressed by men who are good to their parents and kind and go out of their way to help people when there's no reciprocal expectation. The second is intelligence. Because the smarter you are, the more likely you are to make good decisions and protect your family's offspring. And by the way, the fastest way to communicate intelligence is humor. I've always said if you can make a woman laugh, you can kiss her. The most important thing, though, to women, and people don't like to admit this, is the man's ability to signal future resources. It's not even he has to be rich now, but he has to have his act together such that he looks like he will be a decent provider. Women are
Mm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, based on that, I think you chose poorly.
Goodbye. Goodbye. No, I came across that clip and I had chose that clip because it got me to thinking about when we had first started dating, right? And remember
We
how
were
I always
kids.
say, I know, but remember how I always say,
I wasn't black enough.
"Oh my
I wasn't like the other black boys. That's what you
you were
said.
you weren't like the other boys." I never said black boys.
That's what you said.
I don't ever remember saying
You
black boys,
question my
but
blackness.
whatever.
Question my blackness constantly.
But I do distinctively remember that one of the things that attracted me to you is because you were not like the other
I
boys.
thought it
Like,
was
you
my.
weren't trying to not you weren't trying to like run the street, you weren't trying to like get into trouble. You were a good student, you respected your
You finna
parents.
tell the whole
You
internet I
came
was a
from a
square?
what?
Oh, you finna tell the whole internet I was a square?
I mean, you weren't a perfect square, but yes, you were.
Wow.
But I just found it interesting that the qualities that he talked about, what women seek out for men, is something that was on my mind
Mm,
even at 15,
ooh,
right?
ooh, you
Because
grew up fast, didn't you?
you were nice, you were kind, right? I loved the
I
fact
but I expected something in return. Don't get it twisted.
I I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know. I'm not sure. No, but seriously, you are and you were really smart. You did great in school. You always made great marks in school. Like, there was no
Marks, what
there
are we?
was
This is the fifth.
I know. I was just thinking that. Stop distracting me. But yes, so you were great in school. You made good marks in school. I didn't have to worry about whether you were going to graduate or not. I didn't
It
have to
was
worry about you
rough.
hanging out with like a rough crowd or anything like that. And that also signaled to me your potential.
Mm,
So when I'm thinking in terms of like boyfriend, like, for me, I'm like, okay, I can talk to him. He likes hanging out with me. He doesn't like pressure me into
you
anything.
had breath. Of
He
course I was
runs
hanging out
with
with
a
you.
good crowd. He comes from a good, respectable home. He respects his parents. I mean,
Well, I mean, first of all,
as a teenager, like that's a win-win. And then when you got a job, you was already like trying to take care of me with your little job. And I was like,
I
okay.
bought you a couple of things here and
Yeah,
there.
I was like, wait.
You've been spending my money all my life.
Yeah. But it's true because as we got older, you still maintained those qualities
Mm,
even through like our difficult times.
mm,
And I knew as we got older, as in like young adults, those were key indicators for me that you would be a good husband,
so you're saying
that you would be a good partner. It's like it was the foundation.
okay.
That's what I was
So
gonna
my
say.
core.
It's like, yeah, it's like
Okay.
that was genuinely who you were.
Mm,
You weren't trying to show me that you could take care of me just to get me and trap me. That was genuinely how you were.
mm.
You weren't trying to like just tell me anything or tell me any kind of joke or perceive to be a certain way just to rope me in and then you switched it up. That's genuinely how you've always been. Like you've always been the type of friend and partner to want to make me laugh, to want to educate yourself, to want to provide for me, not just, financially. That's just those are things that you have always had that you've
Mm.
been consistent. Kind, being
Oh,
kind to me. Like and even when you don't agree, if I say you hurt my feelings and you really don't understand how my feelings could have been hurt by something you said or something you did, you still will express that as like I do apologize. I don't exactly understand where you're coming from, but it was never my intention to make you feel this way. Like you at least take it there. Do you
mm,
know what I'm saying?
mhm,
So when he was talking about that, it just got me to thinking about people who are dating and what type of fundamental or foundational characteristics that they're looking for in a partner,
mm.
right? Because those are really big indicators: kindness, intelligence, provider. So, how do we get so far left when we start talking about people who don't do those things? Were they doing those things before? Were they those type of men and women before or men before? If those are key indicators that women look for.
Were you asking me a question right now?
Mhm.
I wasn't gonna say nothing because you were like bigging me up. So I was gonna
I
just
wasn't gonna say nothing because you were bigging me up.
I was gonna
I
just
mean, don't like I always
I was
say,
gonna just soak it in.
hold on, like I always say, that is to not say
You
you are
finna run.
without faults,
I know you finna run
but
it.
but I'm
I knew
saying
it.
at your foundational core,
Mhm.
you are genuinely kind. You are
I don't believe that.
genuinely intelligent.
I'm not kind.
You are you are kind.
I'm not that kind.
I forget. He has to act tough when we're on here. My
Well,
bad.
first of all, thank you for those kind words.
Mhm.
I always say I am who I am from day one.
Right.
I don't switch up. I am who I am. If you know me, you know that to be truthful. If my behavior towards you shifts,
Mhm.
it's because something causes a shift, and I deal with you accordingly. But to answer your question, I feel like in today's society, in modern times, in this dating app era,
Yeah.
everyone brings their as my friend Des likes to say it, their interview person
Of course.
to the
Of
relationship,
course. Yeah.
and a lot of times, I've said this before, people show up with ill intentions on one side, and they have become pretty good actors to the point to where you cannot pinpoint that they're acting, that they're playing a role to achieve a certain goal, and
Mhm.
they'll play that role until they achieve that goal. Like they'll mislead people. And I do believe that vetting people is something that um, must be done extensively, because it's going to take, for the average person, it's going to be hard to maintain a ruse for a long period of time,
Right. Right.
right?
To maintain your
Right,
interview
so
person.
you
Yeah.
you have to kind of slowly let guards down and slowly get to see. But we always say, like, especially in like relationships, like, you don't really know a person till you stay with them.
stay with them or have an argument with
Right,
them.
and then
Mhm.
you get to see. And I also feel like a lot of times in this day and age, people just avoid red flags. They just act like
Yeah, like they see them.
yeah, but
They see them.
associate that with being like a one off or
Yeah.
he was just out of
Mhm.
character. No,
Or it's something we can work on.
sometimes
Yeah,
that out of character can just be them showing their true character because they couldn't
exactly.
suppress it. And
Exactly.
it's a harder world to navigate. And I say all that just to say I'm happy I'm not single, but I do understand. Like I can see his point why women would look for men with those character, which is because I think those basically what I got in a nutshell is that they're looking for a compassionate, caring person that's going to be good to them when life isn't good to them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They're looking for someone to stand by them and someone they can stand on
Mhm.
when need be, someone that can carry them when they can't carry themselves.
And who can maintain themselves
Right.
even through the ups and the downs.
Right. And but I also see that it's a lot of people out here that are out here trying to be in relationships and they're coming off of bad relationships and they haven't healed properly,
Mhm.
or you have people getting into a relationship with ill intentions, or they're in relationships because they need to be in a relationship because they
Right.
need the support. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're not. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people out here not working on themselves, and I think that's probably part of the reason where it seems like to me, I can't say for sure because have not been single in a very long time,
Right. You haven't been single as an adult.
ever.
Yeah.
But from what I see, it seems like it's a lot of people out here, putting up fronts, being very guarded because the world's just a jaded world,
Yeah.
and you cannot trust someone even if you believe they have good intentions. Because I've had conversations with friends and coworkers and things like that, and then when I talk to them, I'm like, this is like if I've had conversations with people and they've just start telling me things of opposite sex. And I was like, if I was single and you were telling me this, you literally just gave me everything I needed to know to play you. Like if that was that guy,
Yeah, but then
if I was
that's them also kind of being vulnerable, right?
right, right. But then that's the flip side of that. The flip side of that is I kind of think of like, well, man, like she's this comfortable to tell me these things.
Mhm.
She must see me as a pretty good friend
Yeah.
because it don't mean
And that's a good, like, fundamental thing
right,
in looking for a partner, somebody you can
right.
be friends with, someone who has easy conversation.
Mm,
Like, if I can talk to you, especially speaking from the emotional aspect of being a woman, if I were out and I were single and there was a man that I was talking to, and our conversation just goes with ease,
mhm,
right? I can talk to him. I don't feel judged by him. I feel safe in his presence. He makes me laugh. He can see the world through different lenses. Right off the bat, it's like one foot's already in the door. One foot's already in the door because
mhm,
how many other men have I come into contact with and didn't even have any of those things checked off?
mhm,
Like maybe he looked good, but his conversation is trash.
mhm,
Or maybe he had great conversation, but he doesn't have any type of worldview.
mhm,
Like, all of those things play a part. But I think what he was basically trying to say is like the foundation of a man who's kind, the
mm,
foundation of a man who's intelligent, the foundation of a man who can basically provide for a woman or for a family or shows great potential. And I don't mean potential in you can see that he has the wheels to do it. I'm
mhm,
talking about potential in pursuing getting to the level at which he will be able to provide
mhm.
for you or provide for a family. I'm not going off of, what, he is really smart and he's got the potential, but he never actually worked towards
But
getting to the place where he can be a
but I
provider.
think I think the key point about potential, is that they've shown you that they're capable of.
I disagree, not always. Not because I think here's the thing. I think some women, I can't speak for all. Um some women will look at men who do have great potential. Like you have some men who are great communicators. You have some men
Mhm,
who can tell somebody how to start a whole business,
mhm,
right? But why you can't start one for yourself? If that's what you want to do,
mm,
right? So it's that I'm talking about that type of potential.
mm,
Like you can see that he's really strong in different areas, where it could potentially change his life or that of his
But
family.
then again, you say that, and I feel like potential will only get you so far if you don't have the confidence behind that to do the work.
Right. That's why I'm saying that's why potential can also be tricky.
Yes.
Right? Because you do want your man, just like your man wants his woman to have potential, or just like, you can see your partner's potential. I think it's your perspective about what your partner's potential is,
Mhm.
and then what perspective about what it is they're actually trying to do, right? Because you can see the potential in your partner all you want to, but if your partner doesn't see it in themselves,
Right.
or if that's not the mark that they're trying to aim towards, then what good does
And see
the
that,
potential that you see in them
a-
do for you?
and that just sparked something else. Like, you can see the potential, but if they're dealing with something, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, I would say this is especially for us. We have gone through times in our relationship and in our marriage where we had got to the point where you was some way more healed than I was. So you were operating at a different level I
Healed or
was.
oblivious, whichever. I wouldn't use the word healed.
Okay. Well, you were functioning. You were functioning
Yeah, I
at
was just functioning.
you were functioning at way higher levels
That's it.
than I was. And but even through those times, you still saw potential in me, and you didn't hold
Yeah.
that against me. And you understood that I had, heavy weight on my shoulders, and that my mental stability wasn't as stable as it should be.
Yeah, but that's because you had already shown me.
Mm,
It wasn't you do you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was still hanging on, like, he's gonna get it together, he's gonna get it together. You had already shown me through your actions
mhm,
and holding your words that this is what you were going to do, and what you said you were going to do you did.
mm.
And then when you fell on a time where you couldn't, it's not like I was just out here like, oh, he has so much potential but he's sitting here like being mopey. It wasn't like that. It was like you were going through
Mhm.
something, and I knew who you were. I knew who
Mhm.
you are. You know what I'm saying? So I knew the potential was there because the potential had already been shown.
Well, I can see that.
Not that I could always see the potential, but you never rose to the level of my expectation or whatever.
Yeah, I can see that. But I feel like, going back to the clip, what he said, I can see what he said being true, especially when it comes to selection. Um, when I'm selecting,
Mhm.
it's just that sometimes I don't know if, you know we as men always portray those things purposely. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like
I don't
sometimes,
understand.
it's like sometimes people like, because I don't. Many people have told me I'm kind. I don't see myself as kind. I see myself as a decent human being. I don't really wish ill towards no one. I have a select few that I do.
Mhm.
And they know who they are.
When you say you sorry to cut you off. When you say you don't see yourself as kind, what I don't know how else to ask, but like what do you mean you don't see
Because
yourself
here's
as
my
kind?
thing.
Like, okay, for instance, if you see a kid out on the street
Mhm,
and he has a sign, or he's hungry and you have $2,
mhm.
are you giving him the $2?
That's just being a decent human being.
Okay, but that's also being kind.
I mean,
That's
tomato,
also
tomato,
being kind.
tomato, tomato. I feel as if I can be kind to my friends and my loved ones.
And strangers.
But I don't feel like I'm necessarily kind to you or our daughter. I feel like that's just me playing my position as husband and father and protector. I am supposed to be a figure of gentleness. I'm not supposed to be rough with you guys. So I portray, or I engage in activities that will seem to be kind. I don't think I'm kind, and of course I'm kind
I
to my
think you
daughter.
mean like you don't think about it.
Yeah, I don't think
But
about it.
then that also goes back to my point. You
Oh,
don't think about it because it's inherently within you.
see, you trying to make me soft.
No, no, I'm not trying to make you soft. I'm trying to get you to see. That's literally one of the things that attracted me to you. It isn't something that you work at. It's something that is already a part of your character.
Mhm.
It's already a part of your personality.
Well, I mean, I have.
So you don't have to think about it. You don't have to say, "Damn, am I kind today?" You don't have to say, "Okay, let me be nice to my daughter. Let me be nice to my wife.
Oh,
Okay, let me not seem like an
hold on,
asshole
hold on.
outside in public."
I hate to cut you off, but sometimes I have to say, "Let me be kind to Phoenix," because Phoenix be
Okay,
like, "Oh
well,
my
because
god."
she be hurting your feelings, but
Always,
you know what I mean. Like, it's not
constantly.
something that It's not something that you physically have to be aware of all the time,
Okay,
because that is who you inherently are.
okay, I
You
receive
don't
that.
have to go out of your way to try to learn about politics or worldly things to try to impress me. That's what you naturally do anyway, because you want to be informed,
Okay.
because you want to have
Well,
information. Those are things that those are things you inherently do.
those things I inherently do were things that I was shown and taught and were done for me growing up.
That was
So
because that was what was modeled to you.
so I, like I say, a lot of times people as adults, all we do is reciprocate what we were shown. And this is part of life I was shown. And, I was raised to be a good person.
Mhm.
And to not, I mean, to be a good person to an extent. Don't let people use you. Don't let people step over
Right,
you.
right.
But to be a good person. And I was raised by people who that would give you the shirt off their back if they could.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was instilled in me. And my friends know, like, if I have something I can, or if I can do something for you, I'm gonna do it out the kindness of my heart. I'm not expecting any um,
Anything in
in
return.
return. In return, I
Yeah.
mean, a thank you would be nice.
I mean, a thank you would be
A
nice.
thank you would be nice, but I'm not expecting anything in return, and it's not something where you have to. And I'm not the type of person to do something for you, and I'm gonna constantly remind you that I did something for you,
Right, right.
because whatever I did for you, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, that's between me and you, and I
And it
know.
came from your heart
Right. So I guess in that instance, I understand, and I can see how
because it's
that
inherently in you.
I can see how that can be a characteristic that women will look for.
Mhm.
Um, so that I can understand, and I can understand the third party said about being able to obtain future resources, because I feel like foresight is something that is important,
Yeah.
and I think that goes both ways, because I part of your personality is that you're able to see things coming that I don't see.
Mhm.
Or I may see things happen unfolding one way, you see things unfolding a separate way,
Mhm.
and you give me insight, and I give you insight, and we can kind of predict or kind of go forward to where,
Like the yin and the
yeah, the
yang.
kind of
Mhm.
weather the storm peacefully, I guess you can say,
Yeah.
going forward with what's happening. So I can see how that's being crucial, and when selecting on both sides,
Mhm.
in intelligence, that to me, that's on both sides, because I don't want to have to, if I had to be concerned about you hurting yourself or not getting something done all the time, or you always needing me
Is
to.
that part of intelligence though?
Yeah, I think it is, because in
Is it?
intelligence, you to be intelligent, you have to be self-sufficient. You have to understand that, hey, I can't put my hand here because the fire is on. That's intelligence. You know, what I'm saying? That's not how high functioning intelligence, but you are, but that is what is intelligence. And like I said, well, I've said it many times. You are the one here with the degrees. I'm the one bringing you down.
You have an honorary degree.
Yeah, I don't know who gave it to me.
I gave it to you.
Okay, but I'm the one bringing you down.
I
Yeah,
gave it to you,
you the one
babe.
got the plaque. I don't. So
Actually, I don't.
we'll be
I just have the little thing
okay.
because I never went back and got that.
That's bad
Actually,
on you.
it is
Anyway,
really
uh,
terrible.
but so it's, yeah, these things, and every man wants a woman that's kind and loving, because we don't, I mean, we're not gonna admit it, but we do want a woman that's kind and loving and thoughtful and nurturing, because we don't, while we don't necessarily want to be mothered, we want the possibility to be nurtured.
Well, of course, but I think if you're trying to flip it, you will
I
come.
was flipping it.
I obviously, women tend to be more kind and agreeable by nature. So
Not all.
I know I didn't say all. I said
You
like
said women.
okay, most women.
Most? Some.
Okay, some women,
Thank you.
whatever, some most tend to be more agreeable and more kind by nature because that's inherently in us as well.
Mhm.
There's other things that factor into that, your childhood, your where you grew up, how you
Mhm.
grew up, your family dynamic, all that gets
Your
affected.
mentality.
But yeah, and your mentality, but inherently we tend to be more soft, more kind, more agreeable. Men don't always tend to be that way. And then you also have to take into the account the messaging that we're receiving in childhood is a lot
Mm,
different too.
very different.
So when you find a man who is kind, a man who is intelligent, a man who can be a provider, it's like out of those three things, the one thing I think that's preached the most is the provider part, the provision part.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. And then with girls, it's like, oh, don't do that. That's not ladylike, or don't say that. That's not what you know what I'm saying. So you're gonna get more kindness
Mhm.
looking if you're looking for that in a woman, as opposed to a woman looking for kindness in a man,
Yeah.
right? Because you guys get different messaging than we get.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why I'm saying when you find a person or if you're dating somebody and you are trying to find someone, you are looking for things like someone who is genuinely kind,
Mhm.
right? I don't want to have to go out with you. Like, let's say, for instance, we go to a party and you mean mugging people, or you don't know how to have just like a cordial conversation amongst people, either you don't know or people that you dislike. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh. Hold on
Yeah,
now.
but I need you to have the intelligence
Mhm.
or the mental intelligence, the emotional intelligence to be able to still support me in that moment
See that?
being amongst my peers.
See
Whether
that?
you want to be there or not, that needs to be
Yeah.
something that's inherited. That's like
Mm.
your intelligence.
See,
That's you just being a kind, you could say a kind human, like
yeah.
you like to say a kind human. Those are things that are really important. So what that made me think about was the idea what was her name? What was her name? Oh, Dr. Bryant. And she was talking
Mm.
about like the fairy tale idea. I don't want to mess this up, but I probably am. But she was talking about how women like women or the first part was men will accept women who meet, I don't know, let's say like 70-80% of their needs, right?
Mhm.
And everything else they can work with. It's not like a deal breaker, right? If she can't cook, I can cook, or I can help, I can teach her how to cook, and then we'll go from there. But she's meeting like 70% of my needs. Women will get an idea of what they want their man to be. Then they'll date a man who doesn't necessarily fit that idea, but they will try to force him
Mhm.
into that identity.
Mhm.
And then that's where some of the
The
discord comes
riffraff
from.
and the divorce comes in.
Right.
Right.
Right. So I don't it just it for me that's what it
And
made
I
me.
think a large part of that I've always said this. I feel women do they accept things and they say what I can accept this and fix this.
Yeah,
And then when they can't fix
we're
this,
fixers.
and then when we can't fix this, when you guys can't fix this, now it's he's the problem. No, he's not the problem. He's the same man he was
Yeah.
when you chose him.
Yeah, but
You
you
just
had
could.
this idea of
Mhm.
either a life or you had this idea of like the type of man he could be
Mhm.
because you thought like this is what he was capable of doing,
Mhm.
but he didn't necessarily show you the things that were really important to you on a consistent
But I also
basis
think a lot of people
before
don't.
you agreed to either be with him long term or before you agreed to marry him. And that's what I'm saying. It's like how you said earlier, people will see the red flags
Mhm.
and then they would just go around them. Or
But
they see things and they say, like how you said,
okay,
I can work with
or it's
that.
not that bad.
Right. It's not that bad.
It's not
Like
that bad right
before we
now.
get married, he grabbed, he strong held me with on my shoulders.
You like that though.
It's not that bad. He didn't hit me.
You like
But
that.
then you marry him, then he hauls off and socks you in your eye. And then people are like, "But
I don't
was
I
he
don't
showing aggression?"
I don't control
I
domestic
know
violence.
that's what I'm saying, but what that's the point I'm making. But then you ignore that,
Mhm.
right? You ignore that, and then you go in further into the relationship, and he doesn't necessarily meet the fundamental things that you were looking for,
Mhm.
and then now he's showing a completely different side of himself.
Mm.
You see what I
Yeah.
mean? So, I mean, that's why I'm just saying, like, essentially, in a nutshell, it's the foundational things that are essentially like deal breakers for you.
Mhm.
But in regards to how he put it in the clip, those are like the fundamental things that most women will look for in a man. Even if you're not conscious that those are the things that you're looking for, I think those are inherent things that women would
But I
look
think a lot of
for
times people don't know what their deal breakers are or
until
what
they're
they're
in a
until they're
situation.
in a
Mhm.
situation and
I
they
agree.
don't understand what they're
I
looking for
agree.
until they get into a situation where they don't want to be in.
I can agree with
So
that.
sometimes you got to have experience
I can agree with that.
to understand what you're actually looking for.
Yeah, because I've always gone by, you know what you want by what knowing what you don't want.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what you want by knowing what you don't want.
You can put that on a shirt.
Probably not. Probably not.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
I'm good. I'm gonna keep staring at you. You got something wrong?
What?
Nothing.
Don't be
I
disgusting
didn't
to
say
Bill.
nothing disgusting.
You almost did. But yeah, so I think, like I said before, it made me think about when we first
Mhm,
started because I don't think I was thinking about that. Like it wasn't a checklist, right?
mhm.
I just knew what I didn't want,
Uh huh.
right? Like I knew what I didn't want it,
Mhm.
what didn't want, which showed me what I did
So you
want.
right.
So when he was breaking it down with the kindness, intelligence,
Mhm,
and provider, I was
mhm.
like, even at 15,
Yeah.
even at 15, I was aware. And here's the thing: at 15, I didn't have any experiences where I was with a boy who was unkind.
Mhm,
I was going off of things that I saw,
mhm.
relationships that I saw amongst
I was
family
going off what I
members.
saw too.
I was stop. I was going off the relationships that were in front of me or that were
Mhm,
modeled in front of me
mhm.
or the that were immediately
See, that's
within.
that's a whole other podcast right there because we talk about it all the time how you model the relationships you were shown,
Mhm.
and you don't really, you
In
really,
some way, shape, or
in some
form, I
way, shape, or
guess.
form, you have similar relationships to what you were shown, unless you actually do the work yourself.
Yeah, and
But
when you're
right,
aware.
so again, I was shown a lasting relationship, so that's what I always wanted.
Mhm.
I always thought it was cool that I lived with someone where they had been together so long, they had this whole life together, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like, to me, it was really a really cool thing that I'm with my forever person that I can count on to be with no matter what I'm going through.
Yeah.
You know, and now I understand, especially now. I'm like, every day wasn't good. There was rough patches, there were rough times, but the fact that they stuck with each other, they
Mhm.
raised family, you know, they raised the family, they raised, you know, 6 kids, all that. It's like, that's the point. Like, at the end of the day, no matter what we went through, we still had each other, and
Mhm.
that's what I wanted.
Mhm. See, and mine was kind of like the opposite,
Mm,
right? So I guess the immediate relationships in my face growing up, we have to start at home. So that would be my mother and my father's relationship. Obviously, I didn't grow up with my dad in the home all the time.
mhm,
My mother was a single mother, right?
mhm,
So looking at their dynamic and looking at his behavior and looking at her behavior and how in my mind as a child like they couldn't come together, I knew that's not what I
what you
wanted,
wanted.
right? And I know a lot of people will say, well, that's not what most people want, and things happen. Obviously things happen, like
All the
we
time.
don't know what our future holds either, you know what I'm saying? Bye. We don't know what our future holds either,
Tell death,
of course.
death with a F, to death do us part. Death
That is the plan. That is the
to
plan.
death, death.
Okay. Like I say, that is the plan. But no one knows what the future holds.
DEAFF.
But it is not
Death
stop.
do us part.
But but I'm just saying like growing up, I knew like I said, again, I knew what I wanted because I knew what I didn't want.
All right.
That's it.
All right now.
And unintentionally, those
What?
characteristics that he
Mhm,
said most women look for in men
mhm.
without me even knowing,
You wanted them.
I wanted those, and that's what I was looking
I
for,
mean,
even in an adolescent.
the more I just realized you were birthed for me.
I can't with you. I can't. I love you. All right, guys, we're just going to go ahead and hop right into the next segment of the podcast, and that is called Our 2 Cents.
Yeah, yay.
Okay. So this is a blind one for you.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
They all blind.
Not all of them. Am I the asshole for not serving my brother in law before the children, causing a huge family fight?
Absolutely not. He better get his ass out of there.
There's a little context needed here, so I'm just going to start with that. I'm the oldest of seven with ages ranging from 18 to 31. Six of us have partners slash married. Four of us have a combined 13 children aging between 2 months and 12 years old. Our father is still alive, but our mother passed away a year ago. We're a pretty traditional family in which the women all stay home to tend to the home and the men go out to work. While we have a family ranch where most of us live on the property and we all pitch in. We also have weekly family dinners at my dad's house. I do have to say, because I know someone will bring it up, no, we are not Mormon. Now that that's out the way, I have a new brother in law, Dan. Dan and my sister just recently came back from their honeymoon and have started coming to the family dinners. Dan, being the great family man that he is, refused to come to any of them before marriage. I'm not 100% sure why, and I never really cared to know. I can't really say that I ever liked him, but he had never done anything to cause it. So, our last family dinner, we don't pull all the food on the table. We have multiple tables. So, instead, we fix everyone's plate in the kitchen and everyone comes and grabs it as it's fixed. As such, we always fix the kids' plates first.
Mm.
The first time Dan saw this, he seemed kind of put off by it, but didn't say anything. The second time it happened, he spoke up and voiced his frustrations, saying that the men slave away in the heat all day, so they should be served first, and that they were all very hungry. My dad asked him, why would a grown man need to eat before his family got fed first? This quickly spiraled into an argument after emotions ran high. At one point, I finally yelled for everyone to just shut up and sit down before telling Dan that until he was the one serving the food, the kids would eat first, and if I had it my way, he would be served last at every family event again. The dinner ended pretty quickly after that, but now I'm starting to wonder if I should have just fixed his damn plate to end the argument.
No, look here. Okay, I have a lot of things to say here.
Okay.
Okay, so
I have a lot of things to say here.
first of all, if the family tradition has always been the kids eat first,
Mhm.
kids eat first.
And
Dan,
you're the newcomer
you're
coming
you're
in.
new, Dan. Sit your ass down.
You're new, Dan.
Sit your ass down.
Relax.
Sit your ass down,
Relax.
Dan. So first of all, you're not an asshole for not fixing his plate because he's new.
And he's your brother-in-law. He's not your husband.
He's not your husband. So you're not entitled to Dan in no way, shape, or form. So you're not an
Right.
asshole, right? And if that's the way things are done. Now I can understand Dan's point of view
Correct.
because I come from a household where dad was fed first.
Uh-huh.
But
And got the big piece of chicken.
right. But that's cultural.
Yeah.
This seems like this is a cultural difference.
Well,
Right.
she said they all live a very traditional
Right.
lifestyle. So even in a traditional lifestyle, usually
Right.
men are taken
But-
care of first, like
But
with
by
meals.
the response of her dad,
Right.
this was their family tradition.
This was their yeah, the kids
so
eat
so
first.
you need to shut up, Dan, and get in line.
Right.
Right now in my house, I normally eat first
Mm-hmm.
because obviously we have enough food for everybody to eat.
There's only 3 of us.
Right. But had it ever been a situation where there's not enough food for everyone to eat, yes, the kids would eat first.
Correct.
But when you're in a situation where everybody's going to eat, I do think that it's a respect thing that the head of the house eats first. That's just a sign of respect.
Well, then that would be dad because they're
Right.
eating at dad's
Right.
house.
And that scenario, I'm talking about our scenario.
Oh.
But in the scenario that we're talking about here, Dan, shut your ass up. If dad is fine with it, dad might want his grandkids to eat first anyway. He don't like your
Well,
stink ass.
obviously,
You
dad.
do.
Obviously, dad had like said because dad
Yeah.
said something. Dad was like, "What makes you think as a man
Yeah.
you're gonna eat before your children?"
Because dad is saying the
the whole point
the point of
of
what
you working
the
outside
point of what we do is
is
so
to
that
provide.
they can eat.
is
So let's make sure they
eat first,
Right.
and-
Right. And
which I can understand.
which also I get it because a lot of times when you have they said 12 kids, so it's probably 20 people, 25 people
It's
in the house.
13 children between them,
So you probably got 25 people in the house. You probably do want to get the kids situated first.
so you guys can actually enjoy your
so
food.
you guys can right.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
another thing. So Dan, just shut your ass up.
Yeah.
You're not an asshole. Dan need to learn his place. And if he don't want to, if Dan don't want to go by the rules, he can get his house at his house.
Or hear me out. If
Or-
it's that big of a deal, Dan could ask his wife to make his plate first.
Yeah, that's true.
Dan has a whole wife.
Oh, wife.
A whole wife.
Is she a hoe?
So bye. Dan got a whole wife. So if it's that big of a deal, that's a conversation you can have with your wife and be like, look, I know this is y'all family tradition where y'all feed the children
Mhm.
first, but I've been outside
Right.
working for 16 hours straight. And when dinner's time, when dinner is coming up
Yeah.
and dinner is ready, I need my plate first because I'm hungry,
Yeah,
babe.
right.
So if you can get me my plate first,
Right.
I would greatly
But
appreciate it
not
and let your sisters feed the rest of the family.
but not only that, like I've thought about it. I've been in a situation where like I were dinner was ready. I don't want to eat. Feed the baby.
Right,
Like, so what if you don't want to eat, Dan? Nobody eats, you eat.
right.
Sit your ass up,
But
Dan.
see, here's the thing, and I say this from okay. I know, especially like you say in our culture,
Mhm.
typically like women will serve men, right?
Mhm.
So I remember being in a situation where and we weren't married. We weren't married.
Mhm.
And I
But we
was
had been together some
we
time.
had been together some time, but I was asked to make other men's plates.
Mhm.
Okay, you know the situation I'm talking about. But I was asked, "Oh, can you
At
make?"
one of my events,
No.
one of your family events.
Yes.
Oh.
Can you make his plate? I don't know. First of all, I don't know this man. That is your friend.
Mm,
And I'm not going to be making plates for
mm,
men just because I'm a woman.
mhm,
While all the men sit in the living
mhm,
room and drink and smoke.
mhm.
And you think it's my responsibility because
I
I'm the
wasn't
other
drinking or smoking, people.
yeah, because you see me like with the other women, so y'all just think,
Mhm.
but no.
Where that woman at?
What
Where that woman at?
right. And I politely declined. I said,
Mhm,
"No, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm
mhm.
not gonna do that.
But you can.
You can ask my mom if you like,
Yeah, you can do it.
but I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
it because it's I don't have to
yeah.
serve. I don't have to serve
But
him.
again, it is a traditional family thing. It is.
Yeah,
It
I mean
goes
I
back
get it.
where the woman served the man.
Yeah, I
You
get
know,
it. A lot of
I get
things
it.
could be traditional, but
Yeah,
we are not gonna pick and choose.
yeah. But you gonna serve me
But
though.
however your household is ran, like
Mhm,
that would be me. That would be like, okay, I normally serve you, right? But then if we have somebody else come over and we're all in the kitchen and you sitting right there, and I'm like, oh, go ahead, make his plate first because he need to eat first.
mhm.
I'm not gonna expect somebody else to have to make your plate so you can eat first. If
But that's well, it hasn't happened completely like that. But like there's been times where you were doing something, you're like, and your sister handed me a plate, or like,
she handed you a plate.
well, she put a little something on
But
there too.
but did I ask her to make your plate? I didn't
No,
ask her to make
no,
your plate because you're not her husband.
no.
But when we're in the kitchen and we're cooking
But I'm
together and
her
she's
best
making
brother-in-law.
you're her only
That's why I'm the
brother-in-law.
best.
She just did it. She was just like, "Okay, here's your plate."
Yeah.
Like, but I didn't say, "Hey, make Maurice's plate for me." That's not her responsibility. And she could very much tell me, "I'm not making your husband plate." Like,
And she better
I ain't
get out my
married to
house
him.
then.
Goodbye. Yeah, so long story short, girl, you ain't no asshole.
Not at all.
You ain't no asshole. Mm-mm. And if Dan got a problem with it, Dan got a whole wife. He been married 2 months.
Listen here, Dan. Danny boy.
Shut up. Hey, listen here, Dan.
Danny boy. Sit your ass down.
So yeah, not the asshole. That was yeah, not the asshole. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Life After I Do. If you are not doing
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
so already, you already know the drill. Follow us on all of our social media platforms:
Uh,
Instagram, Facebook,
only
TikTok. We do
pants.
not have an OnlyPans. YouTube. You
Only
get a new episode
pants.
every Wednesday. Listen to us on
Wednesday.
all the platforms or wherever you get your
Platforms.
stop wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also write into the
Podcast.
podcast at lifeafteridopodcast at gmail.com, and wherever you're listening to it, whether it's Spotify or Apple, you can also send us a text message. Every
Message.
Wednesday you get a new episode, guys. So until then,
Peace, Booskies.
peace, Booskies.